Back at it here at Gulfstream Park on this getaway Friday of the summer season. Partly cloudy outside. We did have some heavy rain in the area late last night in the early morning hours. As a result, no turf racing on the afternoon, but still 9 races coming your way over the main track. Couldn't look any faster from this vantage point, without a doubt. This one dries ridiculously quick, the main track does here at Gulfstream Park, and 9 races over the main on this Friday afternoon. Jason and Ronnie, hope you're doing well. However, wherever you're watching the show, we're glad to have your company. And we continue on, Ronnie, in the, I guess in the department of unfinished business, the final 3 cards beginning in about an hour's time.
Yeah, we got Friday, Saturday, today, of course, Saturday and Sunday, closing day with the mandatory payouts, and then it's across town to Gulfstream Park West.
That's right. Opening day will be next Saturday, October 3rd. We'll obviously have some reminders throughout this getaway weekend here at Gulfstream Park, and we really end things on a high note because Saturday is the final round of the 2020 Florida Sire Stakes, and we have got a shot to see a little bit of history in a series inaugurated about 40 years ago. Only 9 horses have been able to sweep all 3 legs of the Florida Sire Series in the male division. And Breeze on By, who was so good in game last time out, getting the 7 furlongs in the middle leg, he is coming back. That was the affirmed. He is coming back for trainer Ralph Nix. And this is a race, Ronnie, and I had pulled the replay from this juncture. I really wanted to emphasize he was able to sit outside very comfortably and track the one Gatsby before putting him away and kicking clear to a very powerful victory.
Yeah, it looked very good, and you'll see that was at 7/8 of a mile. So the big question always when they go into the finale, could this son of Cajun Breeze handle the mile in the 16th distance? So if this race, you would think it would be no problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm that bullish and cavalier. I think he's going to be very tough, and if he does get the 8.5 furlongs, I mean, there's a high probability he's just too much racehorse for that field. But he'll answer the old distance and stamina question here late tomorrow afternoon, facing his toughest test to date, I think, because of the mile and a 16th against a cast of 8 rivals in the $400,000. In reality, you've got Gatsby, who didn't run all that well last time out in the Affirm, coming back for a rematch. And I know you have some interest at a price in the other Arundel horse in the race, the number 8 Hercules.
Yeah, I really liked his debut, so we'll see how he runs at 10-1. And I'm still thinking I'm going to put a few dollars to win on him, even though I did pick Breeze on By, but I'm just not totally sold because of the breeding limitations as far as the sire goes.
Now, with the filly race, we're not looking at a favorite in the realm of a Breeze on By. I mean, I highly doubt any one of these 10 2-year-old fillies in the $400,000 My Dear Girl are 6-5 or even money or even 4-5. I mean, it's just not that kind of race. Yet, I think the biggest story, it might be almost twofold. It's Princess Secret, who among this cast is the most accomplished to date. Can she stretch out and go the mile and a 16th? And what does the number 2 Big Rings do? Because she's going to be, I would say, co-favorite in that spot off just a really scintillating debut for trainer Ralph Nix here a few weeks ago. They look like the 2 marquee fillies, yet the thing I love about this race, Ronnie, they're so very different regarding their respective careers to this point.
Yeah, I mean, Big Ring's just that one star, going to answer a lot of questions, but so impressive. And Princess Secret, very game performance last time. I had to fight back to win that 7/8 race. So a wide open affair, and that's, of course, going to be part of the Rainbow Six.
Absolutely. Sunday, a mandatory day. We'll get on to the first of 9 here. We'll start things at about 12:05 Eastern. Fast main track, and here we go with that opening leg of the early pick 5. This is a real scramble to start the card, and believe me, after this race came off the turf, maybe a bad move or a bad take on my part, not that he'll be 4-5 by race time, but maybe a bad move not including the 7 CPA Genius. But I did use both Saffy horses. Saffy with the first or by first dude. He also has my top pick in the 3 Young Thomas. I included the 8 Koku, who I like the name with that Kozan firster, who's 30-1. And I included the Zerpa horse on the outside, who might be able to improve second time out. Second race is a battle. It's a pretty modest-looking field on paper, and it's a battle between a couple of horses in Lucci Breeze and Kirby, who you're you're hoping are going to improve today. And then you've got the descending Liesel, who's in for the 16K. Do you like my single, Ronnie, Sayonara Baby, in the third? I thought she'd be in the realm of maybe 1 to 2 when it was all said and done. I think she's going to be a massive favorite.
Yeah, I didn't put her on top. I put Sammy's Town on top,
okay.
but Sayonara Baby drops. In the Anati and the sheer drama, got speed. Probably going to be the one to beat.
Yeah, I think she's way the filly to beat. I don't know. Maybe I'm overrating her to an extent. But, boy, I thought in for the 20,000 with speed, she'd be awfully tough to deny. A $24 play, and I do like her. Again, I thought she'd be odds-on every step of the way, but we'll see what the future holds in race number 3. For us, the future obviously kicks off at about 12:05 with a field of 11 in this 5-furlong, $40,000 to $35,000 maiden claimer. And I get early why the 7 CPA Genius is such a heavy favorite with little money in the pool, but I guess we should start with him, although I don't have him in my top 4, and you've got him second, because he is coming out of a very respectable race against Special Weight Company.
Well, he drops. He returned from the layoff, and he finished that fourth you mentioned, and finished in front of the horse we both have on top, Young Thomas, last time out when they hooked up in that sealed sloppy track. The trainer is Pernell Bagwadini. He's got Rajiv Mirage in the saddle. I went with Young Thomas. I had to put CPA Genius on my ticket, but I'm sort of leaning towards the horse you have on top.
And I kept my picks the same. I mean, truth be told, I thought about calling a bit of an audible, and I guess there's a part of me that would have maybe a little more confidence in Young Thomas on the turf today, just given his pedigree where there's just turf all over the place. But you do have the benefit of getting Edgar and a sappy second-time starter who and I had stuck with him. I stuck with this horse in his rained-off debut here, the race, in fact, where Sappy won would drain the clock, and you've got CPA Genius coming out of that race as well. And his day was basically over. They opened up the gate, and he was off slow and just never got on track.
Yeah, the other horse I threw on was the 10 Freelance, who's certainly eligible. He actually ran third against 40 Maidens in that race, moved from a turf to a fast track, so he's doing exactly what he did last time.
All right, he'll go towards the outside in that field of 11 as we stay on the dirt, of course, and stretch out to a scheduled dirt race, in fact, in race number 2, which is a 2-year-old filly, 16K maiden claimer. I think this race quite simply has 2 fillies who share some parallels, and the one who I picked in Lucci Breeze, and the 4 Kirby who you like. And I think you're going into this with the hope they're both going to improve off their respective last-out races, because Lucci Breeze has only run 1 time, Kirby Breeze has run twice, and then you've got the class dipper in Liesel, who's just been, for the most part, a non-factor in her last 2, but is in for the 16, getting Edgar Zayas. You, like me, like one of the fillies we're hoping is taking a step forward today, and that's the 4 Kirby.
Yeah, stretching out to 7/8 of a mile after returning from the layoff to chase the pace and finish 4th in what should prove, I believe, to be a good screw tightener for the stretch out and distance. Going to show you stat on Gilberto Zerpa with second after the layup, sprints in the dirt. He's 3 for 6, 50%, 83% in the money. 220 is the return of investment. So just looked up. I wanted to see what he did second after a layup on sprints. I was surprised that it wasn't a bigger number, but that's what it was. And I think you have a logical horse on your ticket with Lucy Breeze. I also used the 5 Cherry Rock, who's making a first start since finishing third behind next out winner, Rock with Robin, the maiden sprint during July. I thought maybe that horse could be on the try.
5 will go on the main here in Friday's third, and you're looking at a cast of 5, in fact, and a field I felt as though even if Sayonara Baby isn't quick enough, which she might be, to make the lead outright, because she's probably going, even if she's on the point, I mean, the 4 High Doll Faces is not slow whatsoever. I felt as though in for the 20, she might be a little inconsistent, but again, just she's been facing eons better, and her race here on July the 8th, if she can muster up a comparable effort, I mean, I don't think they'll know which way she ran. I think she is the class of the field and just a very, very likely winner. You evidently don't like her in this cast of 5.
Well,
What don't you like?
I don't like those 2 performances, albeit against stakes competition where she was double digits odds and the sheer drama and attitude. Her speed must be respected, but I liked her. I was playing with her, thinking that there's a little bit of moisture in the track, and I really liked Sammy's Town last time out. Going to try and make it 2 in a row after responding in that race, moved from the turf to a good sealed track, won that race really impressively by 4 lengths. Better than your ex, stepping up the competition. I thought maybe this one run okay, but I got Sayonara Baby prominently placed. I'll be interested interested to see. And maybe I didn't respect that. I just didn't like it. I was afraid of the drop, and they were putting the one on the. They're originally trying to get her on the turf. I think they're looking for something for this horse.
All right, we'll see how she does. Again, I think she's going to be awfully tough in for the 20, but she'll have the answer, as will that field in race 3 as we take a little breather here. Back with Roddy's Rainbow after this.
And they're off. Second in the two-path. Ground by first inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Magic number sits at 3. That's right. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got 3 successive cards lined up before we pack up and head over to Miami Gardens with opening day just about a week out. Beautiful picture, though. Nice and quiet. Hopefully back on the turf here tomorrow afternoon because for good reason. Not only is it closing weekend, Ronnie, you've got the half a dozen stakes races and the 2 Florida Sire Stakes on the dirt, but there's just a lot of grass to go around here over the next couple of days.
Yeah, you would love to see him stay on tomorrow and then final day. Yeah, we looked. They drew Sunday's card yesterday, and we got giant fields in the giveaway Rainbow Six. The payout and not the big payout races 7 through 12, big fields on the turf.
Yeah, friendly reminder in terms of just Gulfstream Park West. First time we're using this graphic, so we kick things off on October 3rd and basically run through the tail end of November. I mean, right around Thanksgiving has been the curtain call over in Miami Gardens, and then we'll obviously ship back here to Gulfstream Park and get the wintertime, the primetime championship season underway. So we'll be covering all the action over the next 8 weeks or so from GPW, and hope you can join us online from your favorite simulcast facility, whatever the case might be. But we don't leave here without a big bang. Looking at the 6 stakes tomorrow afternoon, and Sunday, of course, is a mandatory cash-out day in the Rainbow Late 5 and Super High 5. And I'll tell you, Ronnie, you've got in races, as you just noted, 7 through 12 in Sunday's Rainbow 6. I counted 70 pre-scratch entries. So, I mean, you're talking bulky fields. And I know you worked on the card. I mean, you and I already finished the work on it. So very, very tricky sequence, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to have to go a little deep in there, and I hope somebody can find the single. I haven't yet. I haven't put my ticket together quite yet, but I think you got to get a single in there because a couple of races, especially the 7th and the 12th, those full fields on the turf, again, with 12-5s, they're so tough to handicap. So I think you got to go a little deeper in there. Maybe you find that single somewhere in those 62,500 optional claimers, which we have one on the turf and one on the dirt in that sequence.
Now, you didn't pick, I was going to say, because I had looked out of curiosity, I was wondering if Tatweej might be your single in today's featured 8th race. You've got him second. I'm assuming you used him in your Rainbow 6, but do you have another single in the mix?
No, I used Tatweej as my single in that race.
Oh, okay. I thought you picked the Maker horse.
No, I have the Maker stat, but I picked this one on top.
Okay.
I just wanted to show that Maker's horse might be able to run well. I went with 2 in here, Trapezoid and Resident in the opening leg. And in race number 5, that was one of the races coming off the turf. I used the 6, 9, and 10 in there, the 9 being Chadarine, who from Carlos David. 3 deep again in race number 6 with Current Hope, little dude. And there's that Dreaming Thousand, the number 7 horse in there. And race number 7, that's another one that was off the turf. I had a tough time with that. Went 4 deep in there because I was able to single. I went back and I just said I got a single somewhere, and I figured Tatweej has got to run well in there. And then in the last race, 7, 8, 9. Don't forget race number 9. That's leg B of today's Stronach 5.
It absolutely is, and I'm with you on Tatweej. I singled him as a little bit of a teaser in my late pick 5, and it just seems like he is still very much on the improve and is yet to reach his full potential. And looking to see what he's made of, stepping up and facing his toughest test to date in that Friday featured 8th race. In the meantime, though, we'll start the Rainbow today in I mean, you talk about a lot of scratch, dude. I mean, 900K in this guarantee. It's a dated 8K claimer for horses that have not won a race over the last 6 months on the nose. They'll go at 6.5 furlongs, and I think quite simply, you've got a case where there's the two most important horses in the four who I picked Resident and the horse that you like in the 8 Trapezoid. They are both coming back, the two biggest players in the race, with major changes. In the case of Resident, I like him off the claim for Peter Walder. On the other hand, you've got Trapezoid, who was claimed for 16, didn't run all that well last time against Better for Safi, and boom, he's in for the 8K.
Yeah, Safi claimed him a couple of starts back, drops him where he's figures to run well with Edgar Zayas, Resident, as you mentioned. First off the claim by Peter Walder. That race this horse comes out of, that was a hard-knocking field of 6,250 open claimers. He's good with new claimers. I thought those were the logical, too. Even both are making a couple of changes to try and get to the winner's circle.
Let me fix that tie bar there. That's annoying. There we go. That was annoying. Yeah, my cameraman is laughing there, Isaac. All right, let's move on to the fifth here. We'll chase the late pick 5. We'll go a mile. 3-and-up fillies and mares in this opening leg. And I think this off-the-turf field is basically tiered in the direction, basically, of three horses, beginning probably with the 10 Pharaoh's Daughter, and I'll talk about the other two who I used in just a second. Like Ronnie's Rainbow, I singled the number 1 Tatweege. We know he cost a lot, yet Shadwell effectively cut their losses and sold him privately after his first start, but it does feel as though, look as though he has just gotten better and better, and you hear from his rider, Edgar Zayas, a bit later in the afternoon, and Edgar still feels this horse has a lot of learning to do, but a lot of natural ability. $27 play, and again, going 5, 9, and 10, you've got Pharaoh's Daughter, who's in for the 40, maiden 40 for the first time. She's going to get bet. The 5 horse for Dave Fox and Kay's Running Free has only run twice, and you're probably looking at her to improve this afternoon. And last but not least, the 9 Chardonnay, who's coming back off that layoff since early December. Yet, although that last race was a good effort on the turf, I thought she ran fine. Her only start thus far on the dirt way last autumn there, late in 2019 for trainer Carlos David, and you and I like the 9-10 to start. Yeah,
Chardonnay, as you said it, making her first start since finishing dueling for the lead and finishing third at this level and distance on the turf. That was back in December, but the horse is working well, and I like the fact that Carlos David kept his horse on the turf. Pharaoh's Daughter, debuting locally for John Service, ran well against Maiden Special Weight Company up at Parks on their main track. But Galway City, I find interesting, is dropping to the 40 level, going to add Lasix today after failing to show much in her special weight debut for Larry Bates. His barn has been sneaky good in here. Edgar Prado atop this $50,000 Daughter of Carpe Diem. I thought maybe this horse bled in its last race, and there's room to improve for that. And I like those Carpe Diems. See how this horse runs.
2 key subset rematches, most important, I think, off the bat as we turn the page and move on to Friday's 6th race at 5.5 furlongs. In one corner, you've got the 3-horse blanket finish last time out some 2 weeks ago between the 1 Little Dude and the number 7 Dreaming Thousand. And then in the other rematching camp, you have the 5 Current Hope and the 6 Thirsty's Pride. I obviously prefer the September 6th rematch race, and we had a pretty big scratch, or I thought a pretty big scratch of My Maximilian, and I want to go back, even with My Maximilian no longer running, which is a bummer. I wanted to also highlight Thirsty's Pride, whose trip wasn't as tough as Terry's horse, but still got shuffled back a bit, and it was more of a domino effect where My Maximilian steadied out and got shuffled back between horses, and Thirsty's Pride, what little position he had early in this race, evaporated because he got shuffled back. He never really fired after that. He'll go widest of all in the red cap there. What is he sitting? 6th right now with the red and white sleeves. Current Hope, though, ran the better race. And I think, Ronnie, not even after the scratch of My Maximilian, going into this, Current Hope is probably the horse to beat, maybe not by a wide swath, but this effort with a good figure to boot, I just think he is the benchmark going into this race. And was he your top pick here in race number 6?
Yeah, Current Hope. I thought he ran great. He kept looking like he didn't want to give up. He was fighting back and fighting back. First after the claim, that was for Enrique Torres. The horse ran well, I thought, in that race. Little dude in second, Dreaming Thousand in third, but I like Current Hope's performance in that race. I thought that horse had to give it up, and he just kept fighting back and fighting back. And if you listen to Pete's call, that's exactly what he's saying in that race.
Oh, really? Is that what he said?
Yeah. Just Current Hope keeps fighting back. So I thought it was a good pick. I used Little Dude in second, who's stepping up to this level. Vibe for the lead throughout for Jeff Engler. Luis Reyes in the saddle. Inside post for the second consecutive race. So I figured maybe Little Dude will get a little running going from that inside post.
Well, his effort last out against Fitz's Mo, who you would like, again, 15 days ago, was very, very much reminiscent of the performance we just saw out of the 5 Current Hope, another horse that fought on gamely. And, again, you've got 2 groups of horses that know each other that really sit as the main players in that 6th race. The 7th goes at a mile on the main. It's a 3 lifetime 12-5 claiming race. And you and I both like the 7, Not So Subtle, who's got that crazy fast dirt race in the slop here right around Memorial Weekend in late May. Didn't run as well against a much better field subsequently, but is back on the dirt. But the 5 Texpectation seems pretty sharp, is going to get bet, as will the number 15, Uncaptured King. They seem, those 3 horses, Ronnie, although they look a little bit different on paper, to me, they make up maybe 95% of this race after it came off the turf.
Yeah, the only other horse that I went back and I almost moved up to third is the inside horse, Kid Drama. I thought maybe could run a little well in there, but so Not So Subtle. What I like about this horse is that, now it was on the turf, but they dropped him down, they added blinkers, and he responded with a better performance. He ran well on the dirt before, he ran okay on the dirt, and even more so on a wet track. So I just think they got him going in the right direction. Even though it was on the turf with the blinkers, I think he runs well. Uncaptured King dropping was that good 4th against those that hard-knocking horse Rebeldi. And Texpectation for Don Swick had that nice race against the 2 lifetime 6,250 with that speed. That horse might just go to the lead. I think it's a lateral move this afternoon with the this race going from the turf to the main track.
All right, that's a look at the 7th. We move on to the main event on this final Friday of the summer meet. Good-looking cast in this 2 other than allowance optional claimer, and it's a field very much led off by the 1 Tatweege, who we know cost over $2 million, yet Shadwell, after his first start, sold him privately for, you would think, a lot less. But since that first start, Tatweege has gotten better and better, and watching that last race out of him, which we'll show you on August 22nd, I really liked everything I saw. This was during my vacation, but I had looked at the charts in the Everglades with my wife. I had to keep track of the racing and saw Tatweege won. And although the effort looks good on paper, I think it was even more impressive watching the replay. And I think there's something to be said with a horse like this that Todd obviously left down here in the summertime in Florida, where this horse has been able to take it one little incremental step at a time. Ronnie, and he doesn't have to run against maybe 3 or 4 other stablemates of his. If he was in New York, Saratoga, Belmont, or a monster from Chad Brown, he's been able to, move along at his own pace, and we're seeing that come to fruition. He looks like an interesting prospect to me, and although he spots maybe a little bit of battle-tested seasoning to the maker horse, like you, I think we're going to get another improved effort out of the rail horse in Tatweege.
Well, while you were swimming out there in the Everglades, I interviewed Edgard about, not too much about how the horse ran, a little bit, but more about how was that the most expensive horse you ever rode? So he went home and told his wife, I was actually sitting on a horse that cost $2.5 million in there. And as you said, he'll tell you later, he really did like the way this horse was going to improve.
So what's the maker stat here? Because Mike is in the mix with the 6. I'm a G6. I like this move, where this horse is now. Ran fine over a wet track last time out in that unforgettable Squeeze Adios race where that horse was just jumping over puddles. But you see Paradise Farms Corp and Maker go in, claim a horse for over 62 Gs that's got back class. I think you can expect a good run this afternoon out of the number 6 I'm a G6.
Well, he moved to Mike's barn and he tracked the pace. He finished 3rd, as you mentioned, behind Squeeze Adios at this level. You have Hector Barrios. This horse is 7 for 7 in the money this year, and here's that stat. First after the claim in the optional claiming ranks for on the dirt, he's 3 for 22, 14%, 36%, only $1.02 return investment. And that it was one of the reasons that I went and backed Tatweege a little bit more. I was not enamored with this stat.
Yeah, no,
only
that's
14%,
not a good stat,
so
no.
it's not a good stat. So that's the point I wanted to make when I looked it up. I said, I'm going to show it anyway. I was expecting it to be better, and it wasn't.
All right, so that's a G6. So did you put him second in the spot?
Yeah, I
you
put him
did.
second,
You
yeah.
banged out a cold 1-6
Yeah,
here,
one-
like I did. Although you just don't like that stat. Fair
Right.
enough, as that horse goes from the outside. A race again that is very much about the one-time, very pricey Tatweesh from the inside post. Now the 9th race, as we close down the card, and again, this is a pretty busy last call, if you will, with the Rainbow, the late pick 5, and the Stronach 5 all running through this 10K Filly Mare Maiden Claimer on the dirt. You've got a situation where you and I both like the Dave Fox filly, who's coming out of a race. We're going to bring everybody, yet we're going to focus in on only one horse, and that is Captured Light, who was a big even money favorite. She's the number 1. And she had a major excuse. And you'll often hear, I mean, I worked so long sitting next to Richard Migliore, and he would often talk about horses from the inside or outside ducking out or ducking in, that horses tend to run to open space. And clearly, as they were leaving that chute and running by the gap there where the first turn connects with the backstretch, I mean, she took a left-hand turn on Angel Arroyo, and her race was basically over. I don't think a horse of her caliber, with all due respect, would be able to overcome that early trouble. Probably not an issue today, Ronnie, because she goes from that tough inside post all the way to the outside.
Yeah, so we'll see how she runs this afternoon. That's right. And I always said, and I talked to Billy Badger about it, I don't know why they don't put a couple of cones there so the horses, Billy says if the horse sees a cone, they won't go inside. So I always kept that in mind, but that horse's day was over. Thus I went with Benny's girlfriend, who's wheeling back, rallied to finish that second. I went trying a mile for the first time last time for David Forks. Hector Berrios atop the lightly raced 5-year-old mare.
It does look like she's getting better, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, not lightly raced. Looks like she's found it, and I like that progression when she tried the mile for the first time.
No, I'm with you. A very, very dangerous horse. Captured Light, I still think, is probably the biggest story of the race coming back. We expect her to, keep her head on straight and run a bit better, but an interesting little rematch there in that maiden 10 to close out the card. Once again, is a kind of a popular stomping grounds in terms of our local multi-race wagers on the afternoon, Ronnie. And let's not forget the rundown of the Stronach 5, because we do have our Friday nightcap in the mix. And what can you say? I mean, the gang is all here and in the mix as we welcome back Santa Anita Park and little Preakness action with their little meet underway up at Pimlico.
Yeah, we used most of the Stronach tracks here. We got Santa Anita. We, of course, Laurel not running right now. We got Gulfstream. And our buddies out there at Golden Gate Fields.
As we have our buddy upstairs, Pete Aiello, coming up next with those scratches and changes.